The Castle Eden Cup is celebrating in style. 10 years of Northern title fights, but we've never had semi-finals like it. They were a knockout. It was a night when a lightning double strike from Humberside forced Durham into working overtime. But the Yorkshire invasion met a sudden death. John Iredale with the Wasps winner that means final number 10. The second semi was tighter still. New boys Sheffield stunned by Whitley's fight to upset the odds. But the Steelers paid a heavy penalty. Goalie Graham, the hero warrior, who stopped all the bullets. So it's hockey's old firm into battle once again. It's Durham against Whitley for the 10th Castle Eden Cup. Hello and welcome to a great second night of ice hockey here at the Riverside Rink. Those two semi-finals really were the best that we've ever had in this competition, and there's no reason to think there'll be any let-up in the excitement tonight, because we've got two of the great rivals in British ice hockey who are looking to make history. Durham are looking for a third Castle Eden Cup to put on permanent display at the Riverside Rink. The first trophy Wasps captain Glyn Hall lifted back in 1986 became Durham's outright after they won the opening three finals. When Stephen Cooper got his hands on the silverware in 1991, it was a second hat-trick in a row for the host club and another pot for the cabinet. Now if the Wasps can repeat last year's triumph against the Warriors, it'll prove an astonishing 9th title success, and the present trophy will be another one for Durham to keep. Whitley Warriors also need to make history for themselves. Success tonight would bring to a glorious end the nightmare of 5 final defeats. No team has come closer to breaking Durham's northeast monopoly. The '88 final was an all-time classic when the Warriors just kept coming back.
And Chabotti's there, they've equalised, and it's Johnny Iredale, and it's absolute bedlam here.
It went to sudden death penalties before Whitley hearts were broken once again.
He's missed it, and the Castle Eden Cup goes to Durham Wasps, an absolute pandemonium.
3 years ago, it was the tightest final ever. Just 1 goal in 5 separated the teams, but once more Warriors were on the wrong end. Will their luck turn tonight? Well, this year's tournament was always going to be the hardest to predict, and that was definitely the case last night. The two Yorkshire challengers, Humberside and Sheffield, both came here with high hopes, but this cup is now definitely going to stay in the northeast, thanks to a couple of genuine local heroes.
And here comes Iredale, and that's it! Iredale puts Durham into the final, and the Riverside Rink absolutely erupts. Well, it took a brave man, and the man was Iredale. Graham Dewitt, Ken Priestley is the man with the talent and the pedigree. But he can't do it, and the Warriors go through, and Peter Graham is the toast of Whitley Bay.
This is what hero status meant to Warriors netminder Peter Graham in the build-up to tonight's final. He was back behind the bar of the Bluebell in Corbridge in Northumberland, which is owned by his parents. Believe it or not, he first represented the club 22 years ago when he was just 8. Competition was fierce in those days, but he excelled in goal. He served Whitley with distinction, but last night was his first match back after a 19-game ban, the longest imposed by the sport in Britain, for attacking another player in the penalty box. He played out of his socks against the Steelers, but that doesn't guarantee him a place on the ice ahead of Whitley's other minder, Kevin Dean. It's all down to the coach tonight.
Peter Bennett hasn't said anything to us, and he made 1 or 2 little jokes last night, but no, he just hasn't given us any explanation or anything, so I'll just get ready just like I did last night, and he'll probably tell us in the room before the game, and but I'll be ready. If Kevin's got to play or if I've got to play, still part of the team, and we'll play hard as a team.
Well, one man who was once part of that Warriors team is looking to make his own headlines tonight as a Wasp. John Iredale made the switch from Whitley to Durham, and it paid off last season when he got his first winner's medal in the Castle Eden Cup. He was on the score sheet when his old club were thrashed 17-2. He reckons it'll be a different story this time around, but Durham still have to be favourites for the trophy that they've made their own.
Well, it's a big thing in Durham for the supporters in the actual town itself, with Castle Eden being in the county of Durham. And well, it's just a foregone conclusion that Durham are supposed to win, but sometimes it never works out like that.
One thing's for sure, tonight's final is bound to produce another hero. Well, the Warriors and Wasps fans are out in force tonight to make this a great cup final atmosphere. The teams are just about to take to the ice, so let's join our commentators, Paul Ferguson, and first, Roger Thames.
Here come the Warriors then. Whitley still bubbling after last night. They really relished that underdog role, and maybe, Paul, this is the best winning chance they've ever had.
Absolutely. They believe in themselves now, and that's important. It's the first time this season that they've been in this kind of position. They're capable of winning. Watch out for these guys because they're hot and they're pumped up.
The Warriors then into the fray and looking to make their own club history. Well, Durham know this walk so well, 10 finals in a row, but they know the tournament this year is the closest ever. Paul, are Durham as unbeatable on their own ice as a few years ago?
I don't think so. They're just starting to gel, at least that's what Chris Norton says. Have they peaked at the right time? We'll have to wait and see. They're without Michael Shea, but they're still going to be a force to be reckoned with.
It's their ice, the welcome tells it all. Durham are up to try to get their third cup outright. Let's check on the teams then, the principal two lines. First, Warriors, and Peter Graham keeps his place in the Whitley nets. It would have been a hard man with recall Kevin Dean after Graham's heroics. Big Mike Rowe, very much the man who drives this team. But newcomers to this tournament, Brian Verbeek and Dean Richards, will be looking to inspire a victory for the Whitley regulars like Terry Ord, who must feel they've been too often the bridesmaids. The Durham lineup, they're missing import Mike Shea tonight. The defenceman broke his jaw in last night's semi-final in a really controversial incident. But they're lucky to have six-times cup winner John Whitley to take a bigger share of the defensive responsibilities. In fact, 8 of these 11 have winners' medals, and if Bidner, LaPlante, Little and Iredale, they're not short of firepower. Well, I wonder who'll be beating the drum loudest tonight. Will it be the Wasps, or will it be the Warriors at last? So here we go, the 10th Castle Eden Cup final, sponsored again by Whitbread Best Scotch. Faces off. And will this tournament stick to its pattern so far? Unpredictable, tight, and really competition that thrills everybody and throws up unexpected results, just like last night. The Warriors, who upset the Steelers, the Wasps, who had to fight all the way before disposing of the Humberside Hawks. You're going to put your money down tonight, Paul. You put it on Sheffield last night and were quite pleased with the way they played and forced to eat your own words.
What else is new? Well, I have to go with the Durham Wasps. I know the Whitley fans aren't going to like that, but the Wasps are in their own barn here. They're comfortable playing in this tournament. They've won it so many times. Why not again this year? The key, of course, for Whitley is to play like they played last night. Don't relax. Don't let the other team settle. Durham like to settle, like to get the wheels going, stay in their faces all the time. One of the keys, too, will be this guy here, and, of course, the guy at the other end of the rink. The goalies are going to be very important in this hockey game.
Well, Warriors have proven they relish a challenge. Certainly are up for this in a way that I can't remember in all the years of this competition. And no doubt they'll be looking for the right start to just undermine the Wasps even further. And the goalies at this stage will be taking no chances. They'll be looking to keep it nice and tight. And games in general these days are looking a lot more, not defensive, but close, as defences perhaps do a bit better and the league evens out overall.
And the goaltenders get better too. Peter Graham grabbing the first shot of the game on him, and that'll make him feel good. Every goalie likes to get a little touch.
Tasker trying to find a way through early doors. And that was mighty close. Graham at it again. The heroics of last night continuing already.
If he can just keep his personal mood going, then Wasps may think they'll never score. Norton, last year's winning captain, trying to go for a personal double this year. Bidner. And here's that influential number 12, Mike Rowe, firing it up the ice. LaPlante came close a moment ago at the other end of the rink. He spun around it at 360, but again, Peter Graham was sharp. Brian Verbeek trying to reach that one. He got the Warriors off and running last night. Just pushed away by Foster. Verbeek has got a great shot, Roger, as the icing whistle blows. He's got a quick shot, and he frightens a lot of goaltenders. He's not afraid to use it from anywhere on the ice, so we'll watch for him taking that big shot for Whitley. Bidner breaking now. Little coming up fast in support. Richards, one to chase back off the boards. Verbeek, he had the shooting opportunity there, but couldn't quite manage the accuracy needed. And Warriors looking very much the pumped-up, confident force they were last night. Been the underdog so often, but there's no sign of an inferiority complex among them tonight. Maybe one job they've got to do is to quieten down this crowd. They've brought a good few busloads of fans themselves down from Tyneside to the banks of the Weir, but the Durham crowd will soon become unsettled if they see that their team can't get into their stride. And this is Tasker. And Bidner coming in then as though he expected to score. Confidence in his skating then. But there's a break on now. Longstaff. And an important save there early on from Stephen Foster.
At the other end of the rink, Chris Norton set up Tasker with a lovely pass. Norton delivers great passes from that blue line. Bidner went in, action shifted to the other end of the rink, and here's Longstaff coming in, but the goalie does a good job. He comes out, cuts down the angle right on the crease, no problem there.
They don't get too many chances, the Warriors, to keep their scoreboard ticking along. They've got to have a fairly high percentage of converting them. Tasker. It's the first goal. And it's the Wasps who are ahead, and it's LaPlante who's got it. And Durham are into their stride already.
It fell nicely for LaPlante. Goaltender perhaps a little back in his net, but the rebound is there. He can't recover as LaPlante follows through and puts this in from a sharp angle. We take a look at this again. One shot, rebound. Number 20, Matthews, doesn't steer his man wide enough, and that's in the net.
1-0 the Wasps then. Peter Bender, last year's final was such a nightmare for him. He really didn't have a team at all, left with just one import. And his first experience of the Castle Eden Cup, one he'll want to forget. Not the same this year, though. Dixon. Iredale. Rowe. Just touching it forward for Longstaff to try and keep it moving. Brown, the penalty king from the semi-finals. Just in the middle there, and Foster just for a moment was on the heels of his skates then. But the shot didn't come in when he was off balance. Longstaff, Rowe's coming there, Rowe! That's the equaliser! Rowe coming up to join the attack to great effect. Perfectly timed by the big man.
Roger, you could see this one coming about a day and a half before it happened. Everyone for the Durham Wasps was watching Longstaff. Look, everyone is gathered over there. No one has picked up the man coming from the far side of the rink. Mike Rowe comes in like he should. The defenseman has half the rink to play with. 1, 2, 3 guys in your picture. 4 guys now are watching the puck carrier. That's bad defense.
But that's 1-1. Warriors 1, Wasps 1.
They're battering on the far boards. Good to see both sides using full three lines, prepared to go with that.
Well, Weaver and Holmes made a nice combination out there and almost scored a goal. Youngsters getting their first time on the ice really have impressed.
There's Richard Little, the coach, who tends to take the centre between the two young wingers.
Absolutely right. Why not? You get a couple of youngsters out there, put an experienced campaigner like Little in between them. He's going to give them guidance and confidence, let them do all the skating. The backhander, no real problem for the goalie. Well, he made more of a meal of it than he should have, but he got it in the end.
Steve Smith, very familiar short-stepping style of his.
LaPlante made a move right at the blue, and Damian Smith on the far wing was just a hair offside. But again, a nice little pass by Chris Norton on the blue line to get LaPlante on his way.
Well, looking to get involved in anything he can. Looking impressive. Looking for Damian Smith. Quickly broken up though. Richards. Verbeek stretching for it. Oh, right across the face of that goal. It only needed a touch, but Richards couldn't provide it. Still Verbeek trying to keep it going. A couple of minor mistakes there which could have opened up a better goal-scoring opportunity, but not taken by the Warriors. Norton opening up the room. And it was LaPlante who came in. LaPlante starting to get into his stride.
He's flying. Norton set him up nicely. It was a gift for Chris Norton in neutralized territory.
Durham having to work hard to get it away. Rowe, good spell this from the Warriors. Brown, that's another good pass. There's a crispness in their passing and a confidence that wasn't there in the early stages last night.
They're looking good, and young goaltenders should watch Foster because he's good with the stick around the net.
But this is a good break. And the light didn't go on, and that was due to Graham. He's squashed somebody down there in his determination to get it, and they don't look too happy about it. Pat on the head, though. Sorry, mate. Didn't see you.
LaPlante went in. Watch this. He splits the defense, puts it through, and then keeps skating. Both defensemen have stopped. They went for the puck. Nobody took the body. He almost made a goal, but Graham again coming up with a big save, getting the glove hand out there. Roger, at the other end of the rink, I said that Foster was doing a great job with his stick. He was preventing the Warriors from putting the puck out front, and that's so important.
Spot of Durham pressure in the meantime, though. Durham looking to get the puck under control here, but not on that occasion. Iredale, LaPlante. And again, Warriors coming up with it, but not for too long. It was well cut out there by Verbeek. Norton couldn't make the headway he wanted. Windridge was rather hoping Terrior there was support there, but it hadn't quite made the ice up that he anticipated. And here's a break with some speed from Damian Smith. LaPlante, Smith, oh, superb goal! That was top quality, high-speed hockey. Smith absolutely flying up the rink.
A little give and go here. LaPlante on the far side of the rink shoots it in between the skates, and look at that for a one-timer. Graham, no chance as he stacked the pads and slid across. Smith gives it off to LaPlante. LaPlante slows down. He knows what he's going to do from the moment he gets the puck, and he does it perfectly.
Warriors 1, Wasps 2 now. Wasps back ahead.
Leach. Well, we've just come into centre ice for him out on that wing there, and now it's Norton, Bidner. That one springing back off that netting. Verbeek, Leach. Ali couldn't quite reach it, and there's the hooter for the end of the first period. Very little in it. Durham just shading it perhaps, but not by any significant amount, and the pattern of this 95 Castle Eden Cup is maintained. It's tight, it's close. At the end of the first period, it's Warriors 1, Wasps 2. Here we go then in the second period. Durham 2-1 up, and Warriors looking to get straight back into the action here. One good bit of news for Warriors as they just try and mount this attack through Mike Rowe to see how it develops. And that nasty knock that the number 27 Dean Richards took it's looked to have been stitched up fairly effectively, and Dean Richards, the 27, is there ready to go with a smart bit of handiwork on his right cheek. Leach, Longstaff, Brown is in the middle, 44. Matthews at a decent shooting position, but Leach going all the way. Still looking for this equaliser, second equaliser. Bidner in pursuit, Matthews getting the puck away, but now it's LaPlante and Tasker, and Graham was right in the way of that one. LaPlante dropped that back to Tasker, and Tasker let go a very heavy shot that right upstairs. Watch this, LaPlante stops there, surveys the situation, and here's a good opportunity for Tasker to shoot, but this one goes right upstairs off the helmet. Whitley, long way forward for him. Tasker was supporting. LaPlante, good save, Graham, from Bidner. He was down really quickly then, and there's a break on. Longstaff and Brown, Longstaff, and this time it's Foster right out of his crease to cut down the angle and keep it safe. They had a 2-on-1 situation. Longstaff and Brown were going down the ice, and Longstaff takes a long shot. Brown cut over towards him, and the play came to nothing. They could have made so much more of it, but again we see bunching out there from the Warriors. A little confrontation out there with Tasker getting involved, but nothing too serious, no penalties. But Roger, somebody's got to talk to these Warriors. They got to spread it out and make the passes. You know, they're taking shots when they have a 2-on-1 situation. This is action a moment before that when the goaltender was unsighted, and that went off the side of the net. Brown taking an easy shot, but it still was headed for the net. Norton through there to Bidner, and Tasker was there, but Warriors closing ranks quickly. Rowe getting tangled up there with LaPlante. Penalty against Rowe there. Branch is calling his first penalty of the game, roughing against Mike Rowe. High sticking against LaPlante. So they'll sit for a couple each, and Branch hasn't had a lot to do out there, has he? Bidner might cash in here. Graham made his luck then rather than rode it. It was typically positive and brave by the Whitley Nets. And this time the referee breaks it up. Not a popular decision either, when it looks at it. High sticking is the call, as Norton has words at center ice. Stephen Smith is going to go to the box, and things are starting to get a little hotter out there. The shot from Bidner, goaltender, comes out, but he's moving to the right. He makes a good save, but the net is wide open. Thank you very much to number 15, Stephen Smith, for clearing that one away. But then Smith carried on just a little too enthusiastically and ended up in the box for a high sticking.
This is a prime chance for Durham to extend a narrow one-goal lead. Leach. Longstaff came up with a crucial short-handed goal last night. Warriors typically going against the grain, as is very much their nature. Well, that's cut out by Dixon. Longstaff making sure nothing happens. Brown there as well. Leach will have to continue the work. Takes the option to get the puck away. That's Richard Little, the Durham coach. 30 seconds left on the first two penalties. Norton. Good goal. That's a captain's goal there for Norton. And the Wasps eventually make the advantage pay, just in time.
Norton had all the time in the world on this power play effort. There was a giveaway. Let's take a look at this. It comes in, it's Graham. There's the giveaway. Longstaff, correction, Leach throws it around the net without even looking, and it's a clear shot. Once again, Norton, look at the time he has. He gets it. There's no one coming towards him for a long time, and he picks that far post nicely.
3-1 Wasps lead now, second period. It's getting a little bit overheated now. I think we've had another penalty called. Hooking penalty called against Paul Matthews. This is a familiar story for Warriors, who do tend to let the penalty points mount up. Norton trying to get something moving. Now Longstaff forces Foster to come a long way. Rowe nicked it back, had a bit of a swipe there at LaPlante, and the referee saw it. Delay penalty going to be called here, and here we go, more trouble.
LaPlante was clever because he said, let them touch it right away. It was the delayed penalty, as you rightly said, as Rowe goes to the box for roughing. But the more time they held on to the puck, the more time was wasting, because there's another guy in there, Matthews. And so now they have two in with more time on the clock to have a 5-on-3.
Warriors digging themselves a substantial hole at the moment.
Matthews has come back on the ice, so it's just Mike Rowe in the penalty box now for the Warriors.
Leach. Punched away. Norton. Wasn't too much room for error with that pass across the ring. Smith. Another superb goal there. LaPlante. Oh, what a shot. That was really punished. And Wasps really drumming up the support. Cracking goal, that Paul.
Another power play goal. Watch the drop pass from Smith. He lays it off, goes into the center. Look at that shot upstairs. A lot of steam behind that. Again, Smith carrying it up the ice with great speed, breaks in the middle, drops it off. Orators backing up, backing up. There's the opening upstairs.
Warriors 1, Wasps 4, and Durham starting to exert their control on this match. 2 power play goals in 3.5 minutes, threatening to turn this game very decisively Durham's way. They've got the time to get back in it, they've got to do something, and we've got a little bit of a rut.
More penalties coming up, Roger. Once again, big Mike Rowe in the thick of it.
He's getting sidetracked here, Mike Rowe. He's such a key influence. He cannot afford to be sitting there in that penalty box.
You need a guy who can be a policeman on a hockey team. You need a guy who can be a leader too. So there's a fine line. He can't lead from the penalty box. There's the incident, a lot of pushing and shoving. He's trailing by, 3 goals now. He's got to maintain his cool out there.
Still Warriors very much under pressure. Oh, that was a chance again for Holmes. The referee doesn't like that. And straight away, Stephen Smith acknowledging the penalty call.
Smith didn't even look at the referee. As soon as he went down, he heard the whistle for the penalty, and he skated immediately to the box. But what about these kids, Weaver and Holmes? They're doing all the forechecking out there, and it must have been 45 seconds a minute that the Warriors couldn't get out of their zone. The only way they got a break is by this penalty.
Bidner just cut out there by Brown. Still Warriors under the pressure you'd expect. Goal, Norton, and again the penalties are punished. And it's falling apart for Whitley in the second period, and a lot of it is of their own doing.
Norton's second goal of this period, second power play goal for him, third one for the Wasps. Norton positioned on that far point, again has time to walk into the top of the circle and beats Graham on the short side. Norton with the head down, lets the shot go, keeps it low, and the goaltender beaten.
Warriors 1, Wasps 5 now. 3 power play goals for the Wasps in this period. 2 number 9s down there, Leach and Richard Little. Norton having a dip there right at the end of the second period, which has seen Durham move into control. The penalties that Whitley have incurred have cost them dearly. 3 power play goals for the Wasps have put them now in a good commanding position at the end of the second period. It's Whitley 1, Durham 5. 1 more period to go.
With me now is Peter Johnson, coach of the Humberside Hawks. What have you think about it so far, Peter?
I was enjoying the game early on. For a period and a half, it was pretty tight check, and nobody was giving anybody any room to do anything, and it was a good game to watch. Then Whitley Bear lost the discipline a little bit and started picking a few penalties up, and Durham's played great on the power plays, and I think they've scored 3 goals on power plays now, so Whitley's got to come out this period be more disciplined and try and keep it tight again.
The Wasps have a 4-goal lead. Is it all over?
I wouldn't like to say so in the Castle Eden, because, especially against Durham and Whitley Bear. But I think in this arena, it's going to be hard for Whitley Bear to pull it back now. With them picking the penalties up, it looks as though they are a little bit tired there now, and Durham seem to be picking it up again.
Thanks very much, Peter. We're going to take a quick break now. Join us again for the third and final period of this Castle Eden Cup final. Welcome back. We're just a few minutes away from the last period in this Castle Eden Cup final. I've been joined by Peter Bender, the Warriors coach. Peter, how do you get these 4 goals back?
Well, we got to come out and start hitting. We didn't hit anything that period. In the baseball game, it would be a no-hitter. We just went out there and we didn't do it. But I think, the flow of the game got taken away with the penalties. Whether they were deserved or not, I'm not allowed to comment on it. You're playing in a period where you give up 6 or 7 penalties all to one side. It's tough, and I think their hearts go out of the game a bit, but we'll come back this period. What we have to do is go out the first 10 minutes and see if we can get a couple of goals and reduce it to a 2-goal margin, and then come down and put some pressure on them. But, we played a pretty good hockey game, and then part of hockey is killing penalties. We didn't kill the penalties, but, we gave them 6 straight chances, and one of the deciding goals with 2 men in the box. It's a bit of a bitter pill to take, but I'm not allowed to really comment more than that.
Peter, the best of luck. Let's rejoin our commentators, Paul Ferguson and Roger Thames.
So here we go then, the third and final period, and the pressure all on the Warriors. They've got the ground to make up, and they're going to be the bridesmaids yet again in their 6th Castle Eden Cup final, or will it be 9 out of 10 for the Wasps? Well, Paul, they've got to come up with something early, haven't they, the Warriors?
Well, they have to come up with some shots on goal. In that last period, they only had 10 shots on goal, and they weren't really goal-threatening shots. They've been outshot 36-21 in the first 40 minutes of the hockey game, so they have to improve in that department.
There's one in there straight away. Not really testing Foster. They could just get their spirit going again, then Durham could still find themselves in a serious ice hockey match. Before they lost that bit of discipline we've heard about, it was a really tight game with very little to choose between the two teams, but the penalties opened up the gap.
Absolutely, Roger, and one thing that killed them is they stopped checking. They're one of the best checking teams in the country. These guys run ragged all over teams, and that's what they do best, but they stopped doing that. They stopped putting a little pressure on the Durham team when they're down in their own zone.
Now Bidner through. Bidner, well taken. Expertly picked off there by Todd Bidner. And then there were 6. All smiles around the Durham part of the rink, thanks to Bidner.
Look at this, it bounces off of the skate, goes right onto Bidner's stick. Bidner goes in, makes a little fake a move, and he's got the net to put it in. The goaltender down. Again, LaPlante steered it over, but he didn't mean to get it to Bidner. It bounced his way. Either way you look at it, it's a nice goal for Todd Bidner.
6-1 Wasps now. They're looking good. It's even more important that Warriors can get some more shots in and really try and test Stephen Foster. It's got to be significant. They scored 1 goal so far, and that came from a defenceman. That's picked up neatly. Even then, they couldn't get a telling shot in. Longstaff there. Richards. Just a bit too much time on it.
Longstaff with a couple of opportunities out there, unable to bury it, and then this man on your screens now, Richards, went in and tried to flip it up and was just unable to make it to. Here's Longstaff, he takes his time, gets it over. Richards on the forehand, now the backhand, bangs it off the piping, and Foster gets a little help from the metalwork around that net.
Rowe. It's Bidner again. Bidner second of the period. Durham cruising.
Todd Bidner is so dangerous once he has the puck, and again it kind of bounces his way. It goes off of Matthews and ends up on Bidner's stick, and he just finds that far corner. A nice little bounce. Bidner says, hey, thank you very much. I couldn't have done it better myself. Fights off Matthews, and he slides it along the ice. Graham already down, is beaten cleanly. Number 7.
Only their 4th shot of the period, but it's 7-1 the Wasps now. Rowe. They probably had more possession and more pressure in this period than at any time in the game. Whitley. Richards getting another shot in there, but they cannot produce a goal.
I don't think Richards was aware that he had as much time as he did. The pass came over and he one-timed it, and it went right to the blocker, Stephen Foster, but actually he had a lot of time to actually maybe move in or place the shot a lot better than he did. Watch this again. Some good pressure here. Excellent pressure. Rowe on that one almost put away the backhander.
Whitley. Verbeek. Norton. Tasker. And Graham was forced to lead his goal momentarily unguarded, but they came down cleanly for him. Tasker's in there again. Puck was loose. Richards doing the defending and coming away with the puck. Tasker gets it back for Durham. Checked by Dave Ross. Whitley picked that one up. Chance here, Bidner looking for the hat-trick.
Bidner broke in there and for his troubles took a blow on his left hand. He's skating around at center ice without that glove on, favoring that hand. Some good forechecking here from LaPlante and Bidner. Little pass, he almost puts it away, but he took a chop there just as he let the shot go.
Leach. Brown willing to chase it, but no great prospect. And there's another break on here. Little is in the middle. There's Little. And the coach gets one now. They're all in on the act. Everything going Durham's way. A great pass by Damien Smith to set this one up. And look up, what about this pass and control? Little gets it through and under the pads. Little breaking in. Little backhander going through. Weaver setting him up nicely. 8-1 Wasps. It's been a hard battle for them, the Warriors. Different story on the other bench, though. Was fired in there by LaPlante. Ramsey, King trying to get there. Intercepted neatly enough by Markham. Confusion there. Bidner punishes it. That's a hat-trick for Bidner. And they're rubbing it in now, and they're all smiling. When you're wearing blue and yellow, that is.
All Bidner's goals have come in this period, and all of them have come from fortunate bounces. Puck is definitely going his way. He does complete the move out there, but that bounces over row stick. Confusion with the goalie in front, and it's all down to Bidner now to make it 3 for him in this period.
9-1 Wasps lead the Warriors now. And they can see that silverware. And they're starting to tie the Durham colours to it. 5 minutes left. Verbeek. Little putting it out wide there for Bidner. Richards. Verbeek. Still they can't get it in there. Richards. At last they've got something. And finally Warriors come up with a goal. Second of the game, and that first equaliser seemed an age ago.
Excellent second effort here from the Warriors. Verbeek and Richards come up the ice, and we haven't mentioned Verbeek's name too many times. On this occasion, the puck is stopped by the goaltender. Richards turns around out of nowhere and flips it in the net. Verbeek gets the shot away, but he's smothered. As he does it, Foster can't seem to regain his composure, and that one goes into the back of the net.
The 50 minutes between those two Warriors goals says it all, as does the scoreline. Warriors 2, Wasps 9. Peter Bender can only look on and wonder where it started slipping away. Brown and Richard Little getting sidetracked into a little altercation, which didn't really blow up into anything more severe. Richard Little now ready to chase it. And the follow-up there from Little. His second, and Warriors have collapsed.
For a moment, Holmes thought he had one, and then the big man came up and said, "No, son, this is how you do it." I must admit, I've been really impressed with Weaver and Holmes in this hockey game. Off the post, and then it's so easy for number 9. Another look at this. The youngsters going in. That was Holmes peppering that off the post, and then the goaltender with his back to the play loses out to Little.
Wasps into double figures, 10-2. Look at Chris Norton there, back to the play, sitting down, looking at his team, and really savouring this. Just deciding which way he's going to try and pick up that cup. And Peter Graham, who was the hero 24 hours ago, has had another tough night in the Whitley nets. Not even he could have done too much about the non-stop pressure during the full 60 minutes.
LaPlante comes in and thinks he's got it, slides it through, but what a great save by Peter Graham with the glove hand.
7 seconds left, and no real argument about the winners, Len Paul.
No, it's been a great final for Durham. They really did deserve this one.
There it goes. It's all over, and Durham keep a hold of that Castle Eden Cup. The silverware, oh so welcome at the Riverside Rink after their recent troubled times, and those celebrations tell the story. Durham really had to work for it throughout this competition, grabbing it in overtime against Humberside in the semis, and then really turning on the power, especially in that crucial second period in this final, to see off the brave Whitley challenge for the 6th time they've knocked Warriors 4-6 in the Castle Eden Cup final. The final score, it's Warriors 2, Wasps 10, 9 out of 10 for Durham Wasps in the Castle Eden Cup. Chris Norton then goes up to receive the cup from Jim Kerr, the general manager of Whitbread's Castle Eden Brewery. And Durham fans will think the Castle Eden Cup takes its rightful place on their sideboard in this, its 10th anniversary final. Durham looking to see this as a springboard back to better days. Chris Norton gets his hands on that trophy for the 2nd year running, and it's 9 out of 10 for Durham.
Chris, many congratulations. It's turned into a bit of a stroll, really.
Yeah, it was not as competitive as maybe we'd like and the fans like, but yeah, you know, it's a good victory. Last year's game got a little bit out of hand also, but tonight we played extremely well, and the lads deserve everything they got.
What does this do for your season?
Well, the Castle Eden Cup means a heck of a lot to the Durham fans and the Durham team. It gives us a good boost. You know, there's 18 or so games left in the year, so we're looking forward to get a real good boost from this.
Peter, it wasn't to be.
No, it wasn't. I think we lost it in the last period. I mean, it wasn't good officials in the second period. It was a 1-1 game. End of the first quarter, you know, only one goal in it. and then a few silly penalties in the second period, and we just blew it in the third. All the heart went out the game in the last 10 minutes, and obviously Durham capitalised on that on the home ice, and they're skating down with the cup now.
But the Warriors will be back.
Yes, we'll be back next year. We'll be back in the final next year, better, stronger, and we'll take